Yes, and Maureen, I saw your comment in the chat. Do you want to expand on that?
I can, yeah. It's just that value sometimes is about the time, respecting the time or lack thereof of the learners, and also for their leaders to recognize, like, if there's a finite amount of time to invest in learning, we want to make sure it's only those things that must be tracked, for kind of audits or whatever that goes into the LMS, into our LMS, but most of the solutions are in the flow of work, job aids, performance support. And we find out from the learners what, through learner insights, like where would they go to find this information? Not assuming that those of us in learning and development know where somebody would go, but going to where they are to access information so that they're not spending more time looking for learning in the LMS to get an answer to a question. They can just go boom right to like that job aid that's on their SharePoint site.
And that's part of having that business value perspective to say it's okay for me to let go of my normal solution that I provide for you, that I'm known for, that I've won awards for, and give you a job aid.
So yeah, I will say one of the things that's also helped, because the division I work for is very mired in the old mindset and order taker, and this is the way we've always had it, and they have a high threshold for seat time, but is that when we're presenting back recommendations after our analysis, we say, this is like our recommendation as part of the solution. This is what we learned through our research. And here's the science behind why that recommendation was made. And so while some people may be resistant at first, when they see those connections, they're much more willing then to be open to doing something that's different than what they had seen before.
We're in a position to be able to create those connections. And I think that wherever we are sitting in the organization, we're in that position to be able to do that. Andrew,
I'm just going to put a link to a video in the chat that I saw on Twitter earlier on today. Do you see this? So I think this is brilliant. I think this is a brilliant example of the situation you've got, Maureen, where somebody comes along and says, we need to design a slide or an e-learning module for the children or the people in the work to play with. And what do you know? They realize they don't need the slide in order to have fun. Simply, they don't need the e-learning module in order to be able to learn how to do the thing. And so what we do is we've got no way of measuring who's going down this slide. We've got or going down the mound. We can't count the numbers. We can't see how many people have accessed it or whatever. And this is all the learning that's happening outside of our LMS. The slide is our LMS, and no one's using it, because guess what? They don't need to, because they can do it themselves anyway.
Andrew, this is such a good, I love
this analogy. I do. I am just entranced.
It's brilliant. You can just put it on loop and just have it. It's a brilliant example of what we do wrong in learning. Learning and development is the brown slide, where we produce these wonderful slides for people to go down. It's even slide. I mean, geez.
Right. And so what we're seeing is that we've got this very creative looking slide, and it's slightly on a hill. But you have the children sliding down the hill itself and not sliding down the slide, right?
Awesome.
And so this is the perfect example of thinking beyond the boundaries of what was expected. So the expectation obviously was for the children to use the slide, but who knew?
Yeah.
Right?
Now, using your spectrum that you've got on there, Laura, this wouldn't be any of learning side. This is all be on the behavior business side.
Yeah. And Andrew, what I love about this as well is the fact that we really discovered that those that operate in the business end are aware that and this is why it's so hard to operate when you only think about business value as proving business value. They are aware that there are so many other factors that are going on in the world right now that could be that they're sliding down in their own way. Other people are creating slides which have been more useful. So how do you know what you have done has made a contribution? And when we operate at the business end, Kelly, I keep coming back to your example. they're measuring the time to fifth sale, you know, and they've got many other things that they're also doing to help time to fifth sale. So isolating stuff out is going to be really, really tricky for us. And if we insist on isolating out in order to prove ourselves, we won't be able to work in partnership with the organization in order to help people achieve what they're looking to achieve, because multiple people have these business KPIs. It's not
I was going to say, there's another brilliant little analogy on this slide as well, on the slide itself. On the right hand side, so just later on in the video, it's an 18-second video, about 12 seconds in, on the right hand side, there is a man with a younger child, and he is helping them up the stairs. And it looks like he is going to take them and show them how to use the slide, as opposed to using, we can't actually see it happen, but is he actually going to force them? Is that learning and development saying, we built this thing, so we're going to walk up the stairs and show how to do it? Everybody else is just running up and down the hill. Whereas we've got somebody in learning and development going, let's walk up the steps and let's show you how this should be done properly, in inverted commas.
So the business value end is about liberty. It's about creativity. It's about giving ourselves permission to work with the business. It's about giving ourselves permission to understand that there is fun to be had by moving from the top to the bottom. And so we are there to help people have as much fun as they possibly can in whatever way is appropriate. And we're there to, a measurement is there to learn how we can continually improve, how to help the organization to be able to do that. And for me, that's what the business value spectrum has been about. That's what about the research, where I really step back and look at the research. It's not about the data, how many people can prove their bottom line business value about the KPIs, but it's how many people live in that world and look for opportunities to be able to make a difference because they're living in that world rather than living in their learning and development world. And they want people to meet us in the L&D world. It's about getting out onto that hill, starting to play, starting to understand what looks like fun for the organization, and using our skill and our amazing graphics and designs, Elizabeth, and layback, you know, it's using all of those things to help people have that fun on that hill, you know, how to deliver the results and to be working together and collectively.